the ashes, the son-in-law being here, going through all the stuff that's like, here, yeah, here's the box. He was very good. I mean, you couldn't have a better person be there. He was very much like his dad in that sense. They were easy to be in the same house. It's just that now I'm probably a little bit behind in things I need to do, but also I went through all that emotional too.
Yeah.
That
So I think this is a very important topic, and not a lot of people talk about it. But in my life, I've been tremendously affected too, by the same topic multiple times.
but that's
Um,
good to know because see if someone has not
yeah,
experienced it, they can't help. Like if a shrink or something doesn't know it, they couldn't
and
possibly help a
yeah. So
person.
what I found here, and again for people who are tuning in, this is a topic about relationships and I think we're starting to talk about it in very specific ways, and certain ways relationships manifest, right? Not all relationships are like this, but they're relationships that really kind of take a lot out of you. And what I
These
found,
did.
um in the in at least a couple of relationships is that it's very hard to end them, and for years after I was even tied into thinking about them, so there's like
Oh,
this mental
sure.
hangover that lasts
Hangover, right
even
word for
years.
that.
And it's really hard to move on from that.
Right. I think it's affected us so deeply. It's just been insane. And the fact, of course, it's a dating site thing, and to have met three of them. And the weirdest thing is, you only go for more date with someone that you have some attraction to. And that all, well, the first one, coffee, that was it. So the second one was school teacher, a couple months because of COVID and his disappearance. That was that. The Tom guy would call every night for 4 years and stuff, worked full time, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't even know what my point was, but that all three of them were this sort
So
of entity.
in
And they,
this type of relationship, what I've noticed is, often there's maybe a lack of love in the relationship, or maybe a lack of love
they're
coming from one side of it.
they can't love. That's what they say about narcissists. They do not have the ability to love someone. It's really about them and what kind of supply you give them. It could be anything. It could be just attention. It could be money. It could be sex, whatever. But they themselves are not giving. That's
Right.
what they tell us.
I had a
And
dream about this one time, and for me, it really rang true. And in the dream, it was basically the other person making a calculation. So it's like almost like they have a spreadsheet, with the pros and cons, and they're adding up what kind of benefit they're getting, exactly what they're saying.
mm,
And if those
mm,
numbers don't quite add up, like you're not providing, the exact right amount, then they want to break up. And then on my end, that creates a lot of tension because I'm actually, I'm invested in the relationship, I'm emotionally tied in,
absolutely.
and then if things, don't add up for them, and then they want to break up, or then I'm providing a little more and then they don't want
Mm.
to break up, then it just it becomes very difficult. There's some kind of emotional, tie-in, emotional attachment
Well,
that's
basically, we're attached to them, but
there.
we have to understand. I don't know because you're talking probably on the male entities. They're all this. It's weird. They're all the characteristics. They have other people out there. It's called supply and triangulation. He would always have these women they talked to on the phone because he'd done dog shows and stuff. So someone back in North Carolina or someone I met here, met there, and it doesn't matter if they actually had a relationship. They are supply. They are someone they can talk to and kind of get their ego like feeling good. They're like telling about, oh, she's got beautiful blue eyes, and so I saw a picture of her, and they do that kind of to make you feel probably like, gee, I wonder. But she lives in North Carolina, so, I mean. And I didn't know that. I mean, I just learned triangulation recently and went, oh my God, that's why. And I always thought it was weird. He's never talking to a guy on the phone. There's just a host of things that they do. It affects your self-esteem and all kinds of things. Eventually, I just said, I can't take this
Yeah,
anymore.
that's actually right. Yeah, because I wouldn't feel like I'm good
Oh
enough. It's
no,
all you're always like
you're
on the
confused.
end and being
Yes,
weighed out. Like, are you not providing
right.
enough? And
They often have
like,
affairs on the side, and it's
but,
so they do this to anyone. So they
right.
tell you not to take it personally. All these things are to help heal you and they're not faking it. It's the truth, and we can't take it personally. It's what they do because they will eventually get bored of this person. It's not good enough. It's not enough supply because they're never really happy with anyone. They say they're actually miserable people inside. They do a love bombing thing and all kinds of stuff. They have a false persona, which starts cracking at some point. That's when you start kind of seeing through and going, what? But there's always something off, and they tell you that that's true too. If you feel something off, it probably is. I just chalked it up. I hadn't been in a dating site, dating people for over 20 some years, and never a California person. I'm from the East Coast. So I just, chalk it up to different personality. I'm going to tend to be very tolerant. I'm not going to judge someone for a little this or a little that. And now I know that they're actually red flags.
Right. So there's kind of like, it's sort of hard to figure out what's going on. Definitely initially, like there's no
Oh,
way to
yeah.
figure out what's going on. And then once you're
No,
in it, then I'm like, totally
you're already
emotionally
hooked.
entangled in it. And it's not, and maybe even if there's hints or something, it's very hard to pull out
Right.
at that point.
Because there's always going to be the good stuff too. And
Right.
yeah, yeah, it's very weird. And after it's over, like I said, I couldn't get this guy out of my head, even if I wanted to. And I'm talking every day, almost all the time. And I would do a cord cutting thing, so anything, because I knew it was some kind of psychic weird thing. I've gotten rid
Yeah,
of it. Oh,
so I love
yeah.
what you said about cord cutting. I think this is a theme that is being talked about right now, how to disentangle yourself with others that you are not in resonance with or you do not want to be in resonance with
Right.
anymore. So I can feel the message coming through right now to speak on this.
Mm-hmm.
So one moment.
Okay.
So let's take a collective deep breath together and let's hold the breath for a few moments at the top. We'll hold the breath and then nice relax.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Yes, dear ones, yes. Ah, we are Ra, and we greet you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. Yes, yes, yes. Dear ones, we come through at these times to assist. Yes. When one speaks of cord cutting, we will give our perspective. It is important to understand that if you cut a cord and you do not address the underlying state that you yourself are in, then the cords will regrow and reform. And so
Okay.
this is what is occurring. This is what is being experienced by many, many. You do cord cutting ceremonies and then, the next day or the next hour, they regrow. Why is this? We will be frank. We will be direct. It is because your magnetic field is flimsy. Yes, it is. There are pockets that open up because of an yes, if you are not strong and rooted, if you have not worked with your body, yes, in developing a strength, then your magnetic field, your aura around you, it becomes weak. It is like fissures begin to open up and we do not mean this in a scary way. We are just describing what occurs. And so when these fissures open up, then yes, the cords come back in. And so you are thinking about some person all day long because they are thinking about you and this energy is still present around and within you. So how to deal with this? Yes, what is the remedy for this? How to heal this? Firstly and foremostly, indeed, you must make peace with that individual in your heart. You must understand that, okay, they are going through their own journey. They may behave in a certain way that is not in full resonance with the love and the light, is not ideal, we could say. However, they are navigating their own path the best way they know how. And so, yes, you can let them be. You can make peace with this. You can, yes, place them in a bubble in front of you. You can see them in a sphere in front of you and send them a little prayer and some love and say, I release you from my field, and I release you with love. For it is also true that if you were to just cut cords in this way, then that sort of energy can linger of cutting, 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 and so it is important, of course, to heal your perception of the individual that may have wronged you, that may have done something to you that you do not feel is right. And so you let that go and you release and you send them some healing energy as well. And in that, you will heal yourself. And so this is step one. Yes, so you do this and you release that. And then the next step is you must work with your own body self. It is very, very, very important going forward. As you all are knowing and seeing in your external reality, there are many forces at play that are at this. Yes, this. And so if you yourself are not rooted and strong and integrated within your own body structure, yes, and we mean this practically within your musculature, within your bones and cells. If you are not rooted, then when you observe things outside of you, it will affect you. Yes, you will be knocked off kilter and you will become overstimulated. And so this is why we come back and back and back again to the very practical of the strengthening your body. Yes, it is going to be even more critical going forward. If you do not work with the strength of your body by the exercising, then indeed you will become more and more activated and you will not be able to really handle and process these activations in a loving, wholesome manner. Yes.
Namaste. I also realized I had to strengthen myself spiritually because it's almost, well, even on YouTube, they kind of, some of them feel like there's almost a demonic concept going here. And it's weird. I want to call this the age of narcissism because I had never met these guys before, the covert narcissists. I knew that Trump was a narcissist from the get-go, and he's what they call a malignant narcissist. That's why you would think, God, that should be a disqualification right there. But people don't really understand. It's not, but 5 years ago, I probably could never have found out anything about what was going on. YouTube has been a tremendous help. It's spiritually a tremendous help too, because they have meditations, the information. They have doctors. I found out something I was taking for cholesterol called atorvastatin. I noticed the last couple years, more stiffness, like when I got out of bed, get out of a car, this and that. I mean, anyone could get it if you've been in a car for a long time, but this was starting to get like, huh? And then if I just have a couple of stairs outside my house to get in, the left leg was weaker. And I went, oh my God. And I am 78, so I'm going, oh, well, I am getting old. But it's like weird. What's going on here? And I do dance and stuff, so I have that kind of exercise. I used to have 4 dance groups, now I got one, so there's less than what I used to do. So there's that. And so, but then on YouTube, I found out with doctors talking about it that that particular drug, that particular type of statins, can cause muscle stiffness and muscle weakness. So and I knew my cholesterol was never really that high. And then on the good cholesterol, my good cholesterol is very high. And the doctors always thought that was cool. So I said, I'm just going to start weaning off of this, and they did. And I don't have the problem. My leg is fine now. The stiffness is not much. It's just what anyone would expect, when it's nothing heavy. But it had been unreal. So I knew, and oh my God, thank God for YouTube, because you may not necessarily find that out through your own doctor. And there's many of them talking about it. And they also know if someone were to need, there is an alternative. And I do believe there's a natural alternative for everything also. And so that's what I would be looking into, and what we all know diet can do things. Certain vitamins are I found out magnesium was very important for me. I had this horrible tight muscle here, which I also know is mentally related because that's where the tension, remember all the things I've told you that I've been through. Anyway, last year I went to physical therapy. My co-share was $30 each time I went, and it was nice having her. And she would do interesting things with the head and the neck, and it would help some. But after it was all over, it was still there. And then one day, with this narcissist stuff, I just sat at my kitchen table and went, you know what? This is yours. Take it. You can have it back. And no shit, for like a few days, it was gone. It's like, that was interesting. Eventually it shows up again because it is a muscular thing. But someone in my dance troupe also had, I said, yeah, that there. And she said, start taking magnesium. And I'm telling you, I'm taking 500 milligrams of this, decent, really good magnesium. Of course, that can help with your sleep. And as we get older, and they'll tell you that on YouTube, we need more magnesium or D3 and stuff like that are more important all the time. So there's a lot to be learned on YouTube. So that has helped tremendously, and that's kind of like the, the journey I'm on now, is to find more natural ways, like what we're doing now, the meditation, seeking some help, because you can't always cure everything yourself. And I like a little outside momentum, like to learn to do meditation, to because I can do YouTube, but that's not like the same as having one-on-one real people. And that's why I thought college was horrible when they shut down. Well, they had to shut down during COVID, but to stay that way and constantly do Zoom is so wrong, because that's not the college experience at all. And there's a whole different transmission going on when you're with people in real life. It's good that
Yes.
we have this, but there's an extra added layer when you're there for real, in real time, real and stuff.
Yes, and
So
so right now I can sense that Raw wishes to facilitate a
yes,
session. So
okay.
one moment. Yes, dear ones, yes. We are back. We are back. As you can see, we very much appreciate your what you are saying here, Jeanette, and we recognize what you said about the back of the neck tension. This indeed is because you are taking on much. You are taking on much. And so we will aid in easing this. We will aid in easing this. So we ask all present to relax your bodies, and within your inner self, say the intent. Yes, you can state the intent. I open to the angelic realms. I open to the healing frequencies so that they may assist me in easing my state and healing and clearing. Yes, you may hold this intent in your heart and we will facilitate. Yes. Hmm. Yes, dear ones, yes. From this more clear state, we will ask, is there a questioning?
Question. Why are there, well, the whole narcissist thing, like I say, this is seems to be the age of this narcissism thing, because I'd never have been so aware. I think before people would say, oh, he's got a big ego or they're full of themselves, that kind of thing. But I had never personally, looking back, yeah, probably some people I've met may have been somewhat. There's, it's a spectrum. Less, we all have egos, and that, but there's something more wrong on this kind of narcissistic personality disorder, which actually makes the book of mental conditions. They say sometimes it's because of what happened in their childhood. They've shown that parts of their brain are different. Was it the childhood that did that? Is it genetic? Is it past life? Uh, that's it's just a different entity, especially if you're
It's just that they don't care about the other person
right.
or
They're not
you
empath,
know, yeah.
and 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 you don't know that if you're empathic yourself, that you would think most people have those kinds of feeling. I'm like, oh, I can go to a Walt Disney like Dumbo movie and cry, because that's how sympathetic we are to um, but you don't know that others. I don't know where it comes from. If
If
it's a
you're
childhood thing.
questioning, dear one, why are these individuals the way they are?
Hmm.
Yes. Yes, quite simply, it is because they themselves have not received the love.
That's
They
okay.
themselves have not
Hmm.
received the care.
Right.
So it is important to accept this for yourself so that you may move on
Right.
from the wonderings of why are they this way?
Hmm. Hmm.
For indeed, it can lead to a bit too much mental stimulation. And this is what we sense from you, dear one. You're very, very heady, very, very stimulated in the mental realms. And so it is very important, dear one, for you, dear Jeanette,
Hmm.
to relax. Yes, to let this energy down, down, down. Yes, let the energy down. For if it stays too much up here, that is why you are,
Hmm.
yes, feeling the neck pains and discomfort. It's because too much of the
Hmm.
your energy is up here. So it is important to relax the body, come to a rest, and indeed meditate. This is very, very important. And so the more you do this, dear one, you will also develop the spiritual strength that you were alluding to earlier, that there is indeed a physical strength that needs to be cultivated, as well as the spiritual strength, the knowingness of, they are this way, they are that way because they did not receive the love. And so we are not saying that you must go out of your way to administer the love to them. However, it is indeed your duty, we shall say, to step back and and not judge and to let go of
Right.
those thoughts. And as you do, you will be much more at ease and you'll much more be able to attract the more easygoing, loving, yes, stable, rooted individuals that you seek to, yes, relate with.
I know another thing I think that drew me in, besides the fact that we've been hooked anyway, is you want to heal them. You want to fix them. You think you can help them. That by being loving to them, you will make them better, even though you don't even know why they are what they are, or that you didn't even know that they are what they call a covert narcissist. You just sense something and you want them to feel comfortable with you and that kind of thing. So I think that healing thing is there too. You want to heal them, and that does suck in a lot of women. We tend to do that, I think. I've learned a lot. And I think that was for me in my journey, that was what I'm supposed to do, is learn about this. And thank you for the information that they didn't receive the love, because that makes a lot of sense to me. why it's affected their whole life, or they haven't broke free of it and went seeking answers on their own, or tried to fix themselves or find healers. That is hard for me to understand, because you would think you'd want to, because there's they must know there's something wrong with them. And I don't know. But
They Many do not think this way. They do not think something is wrong with them. They think that they are normal and
uh-huh.
the others are the weird ones, yes? And so it is important that everyone will open to the love eventually in their journey. How they do so is up to their choosing, but it
Mhm,
will happen.
mhm.
So knowing this, understanding this will help you be
Yes,
more at ease as well.
right, to break free of it and forgive them, for they know not what they do, and that is not personal, and that I cannot help them. I cannot heal them. A person has to want to be healed, and they have to know that they have a problem to heal to begin with, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's been a learning curve, let me tell you. It's been a learning curve getting there. Thank you.
Yes, yes, dear one. We thank you. You are doing very well. You are assisting the collective in much, dear one, whether you are aware of it or not, through your own personal life, through the experiences you are having, such as your very recent experience. This is helping the collective as a whole. So we honor you, dear one, and we send you our thanks. And
Thank you.
yes, dear Jonah, as indeed he is frozen, we will wait for this dear one to re-enter.
Mhm.
Hey, Leo.
Ah,
Hey,
yes. Do you have a questioning at this time?
question. Well, I would like to meet a soulmate. I just, the loneliness came on very heavy after I went through all that stuff I told you about. And then that empty feeling, because I dredged up all of this sadness and trauma that I'd gone through. And then just the releasing of the ashes was kind of a big finality of things, and realizing I'd never been able to replace that person that I could get along with, like, two peas in a pod. I find that that is quite a rare thing these days. It's not that easy to find someone. And I don't like, I don't mind being alone a lot of the time, but it's so nice when you can share, and really one and one makes three, basically.
Yes, we love this, dear one. We love this. This math is correct. Yes, we often say 1 plus 1 equals many. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So your heart's desire of wishing to attract a loving partner is good, indeed, is good. And so what we will say is the practical advice is to make a list. Yes, make a list of the qualities that you desire in a partner.
Mhm.
And then we say, make another list and see if you yourself embody all of these qualities. For indeed, there is a attractive magnetic thing. And while like does attract like, you could also say polar opposites attract as well at times. And so this is because you individuals also harbor the polar opposite qualities that they may not see within themselves. So we encourage you to make a list and be honest with yourself and say, am I really loving my own body self the way that my I would desire my partner to love me? And
Mhm.
so in this way, if there is a connection, if there is a match, then you will attract that partner. And so what we are really saying is you must nurture your relationship with your own body self so that you can actually attract that same quality of partner. And then indeed you will find a soulmate. Yes.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I do have a question, Leo.
Yes.
Where does this overhang come from? Kind of the emotional overhang, that attachment either in the relationship or even continuing for, years after the relationship. How does that how does that overhang work?
It is indeed about emotional cordages, you could say. The word emotion itself is also limited. We will just simply say, yes, there are energetic cords that link up, and as you interact with someone, they strengthen and they strengthen. And then when you decide to pull apart, you may be at physically different areas. However, those cords are still there. And so, how do you disconnect from these things, disentangle from these things? There are many ways. Indeed, there's the cord cutting ceremonies. There's really movement is very helpful and beneficial. This is why we come back to it. And so many of these cords are indeed linking up to the back of your neck, to your brain apparatus. So these simple movements like this,
Mm.
and as you do them, having being in a meditative state can help because this will send that energy back. And then there will be then less desire on their parts to, whether consciously or unconsciously,
Mm.
resend back in these sorts of chords. They
Mm.
may send actually loving chords that will, enliven your heart. And so, yes, these sorts of movements are very helpful, as well as indeed holding them in a meditation, prayer, and sending them love and the prayer intent of I wish you the best. I wish you the greatest. I feel at this time I wish to experience something else, so I will disentangle from these cords with you for a time. Yes, and you send this loving prayer out. And then the important step of indeed increasing your frequency. If you were to increase your frequency in a way, yes, in this sort of way, then what occurs is the chords that are here, they no longer they are not able to hold on to you.
Mm.
And so we will give you the truth in that these chords are still present because you are still operating on a similar frequency band. And so if you were to work with yourself and your yes,
Mm.
energize yourself in this sort of way, then what occurs is you increase your frequency, and so then the chords have no place to stay. And so they fall away, they fall away, they fall away. And so the thought of them may enter your mind, but because you are in a higher state, let us say, it is not the same quality of thought. They may come into your mind, and instead of you being like, "Oh, I don't want them to be here," you may say, yes, I send you the love and the light," and then it releases. And so this is really what the way that as us higher density, higher dimensional beings recommend, yes, to raise your frequency. This is the timeless, ageless wisdom of increase your frequency. But as we are saying, really, in order to do so, you must work with your body. You must strengthen it because if you do not have the strength, you will not be able to hold the higher frequencies. You may tap into them, whoo, and then what happens?
Mm.
Ah,
Mm. Mm.
and you fall away from that state, you could say. So this is why we encourage humanity at this time to work with your bodies, dear ones, so that you can actually maintain a high vibration throughout your day.
Right.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Like mental telepathy, kind of as we were talking about this. I was thinking, how people, especially if you're like, it could be your mom, oh, it's my mom calling, or whatever, those things that we might have. Of course, my mother's dead, so she's not calling. But that's like there's up maybe telepathically trying to reach us, or
Indeed, this is
ever, yes.
quite commonly known that I think of someone and I may think of calling, but then before I pick up the phone rings with them on the other side. Indeed, there is
Right.
this. So not all
And
chords are negative.
affecting us too.
Indeed,
That's it.
indeed. And so to see chords not as negative, but really a way to relate. And so
Mhm.
if you wish to not relate with
Right.
beings that you feel are narcissistic or negative.
Hmm.
And really, the ultimate way is to
Right.
work with your own self so
Right.
that you are, in
Raised
this sort of
vibration.
state. Yes. And so then they will fall away, or you will begin
Right.
relating with them
Right.
in a higher way.
Right. So I knew this was all on a spiritual level. And so I've asked for spiritual protection also. Sometimes when we don't feel strong enough to, and the fact that it all happens is like rejection is God's protection and redirection. That was one of the statements that helped me put this aside, like let it go, is this is not where I belong anyway, even though there was that pull, that mental telepathy things going on, but I didn't want to go anymore. Finally, it takes time. It's a process to know you need to fully divorce yourself from this energy, whatever it is. It's on the spiritual plane. It's definitely not in the physical plane anymore. Um, and that's where it gets kind of confusing because you want it to end. You want it to end. And so that's what I've been working on and blocking. And then you have to do physically, like blocking on the phone. I removed all the text messages, making it go away as much as possible. Eventually, there's still stuff probably with, because I have like, well, I'll keep all the things I downloaded on narcissism because I had to learn about this for my own sake. Um, but yeah, but that has helped tremendously. It was a huge act. And I felt a moment of grief after I did it, but I knew it was right. It was only a moment or so of grief, not like, doing the ashes thing with Mick. But it's like, because that was the reason too why we get hung up is we still have that little bit of hope, or we did, when we had these relationships, that maybe the person will see the light or apologize and realize you were the best thing for them, that you really cared about them and all that. No, no, but that was that holdout thing, and I knew I had to let that holdout thing go, and that was not going to be able to heal this person. It was only going to. I was already so brought down by it that I had from my life, for my own life, I had to let it go, because it was basically, in a sense, killing me. In a sense, it gets to that point.
Yes, you must live your own life, dear one.
Yeah.
Yes, this is indeed the case. You must care for your own body and live your own life more fully. This is indeed the case. Yes, dear one. We
Thank you.
sense, before we as Ra sign off, we sense there is a questioning in Jonah's heart.
Good.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Thank you, Ron, Leah, for asking about that. Um, I guess for people who try different things and try different methods, but still really have trouble, but they do have the determination to make a certain change or have a breakthrough. What would you suggest for them?
Yes. We will say, we will give up a perspective on this in this way. There are, as we said, many ways, techniques to increase your frequency or disconnect from relationships. There are many ways to heal yourself in this way. What is important and what is important is that the underlying reason, the underlying perspective for why the disease, the diseaseful relationship or the physical body disease or the this sort of disease occurs, what is this underlying reason? This is what really needs to be addressed. And so it is indeed about a holding on to a limiting belief, a holding on to a perspective about, oh, the world is this way, oh, this person is this way, oh, I am this way. And it is a process in uncovering this. Yes, it is. So there is no real one pill that you swallow will solve it all. It is not a one red pill or blue pill that you will swallow and something will change. It is a process, and so you must understand this. And so we give you this speedy shortcut in this process. And again, we remind you must work with your body if you wish to have the shortcut. This is it. You must learn how to squeeze your body in a more loving and joyful way because you are often squeezing your body in a very uncomfortable, forceful, stressful way, and you are not even aware. And by you, we mean humanity as a whole, but really everyone here, including this dear one, also squeezes unconsciously in a very forceful, stressful sort of way. And so, if you are not aware of this, then how can you clear it? You
Mhm.
must bring it must come to the surface. Yes, it must be shown to you. And so, how do you show it to yourselves? The speedy way is to indeed squeeze your body through exercise so that you may notice, oh, when I squeeze and I just do this sort of repetition or yes, movement, oh, I think I'm forcing here. Yes, indeed, you are forcing. And so, you relax and then you squeeze again. And this time when you squeeze, you do it a little bit more gently with power, but still more gently. And so this is a skill. It is a skill, just as you learn how to play an instrument, or yes, for those that know how to play instruments, there is a level, let us say a flute instrument. Yes, there is a level of how much you blow, how much you pressurize and squeeze your, yes, your lungs and your mouth that will let out the perfect
Right.
melodic tune. Same with strings. Yes, there's a perfect way to, in that moment, to strum that
Mhm.
instrument where it comes out. And so you must learn how to do this with your bodies. You must learn how to re-squeeze your bodies because the reason why you are experiencing more of all of this and the chords coming back in is because either you are too pressurized in the stress, or you are under pressurized and too relaxed, and so you're allowing this in without knowing. And
Mhm.
so you must develop the ability to squeeze and sense when you are squeezing too much, when you are squeezing too little. Just like you would learn any other skill, any other sport, any other instrument, ability, all of this. It's the same. You must practice it, practice it, practice it. And as you do, you will develop the strength and you will develop the sensitivity within and around your body to be able to sense when, yes, someone may be thinking about you in a negative way and sending this sort of chord, but you will be able to pick up on it before it enters into your aura and body. And so you will be able to, with a simple yes, wave of the hand, clear it, transmute it, or simple breath. Yes, and you heal it. And so this is a skill that must be developed. And it is not necessarily there is no one pill will heal all ordeal, dear one. This is just not how it works. So we give you the shortcut again. Work with your body, learn how to squeeze it through exercise so that it's not forcing through failure as is often taught in humanity, but is squeezing in a more stable, yes, this sort of way to develop the strength. Yes. And then you can hold the higher frequencies and you can also sense when there are other frequencies around you and you will not, they will not be able to affect you negatively. Ah, yes. Dear ones, we greet you in this way, in the love and the light. We understand much has been activated within you. We encourage all listening to step out into nature and to
Yeah.
allow Gaia to help you process. And again, dear ones, This is a process. Yes. It is a ongoing one. You get better at it and better at it and better at it and better at it as you practice more. And so as you practice, yes, the exercise, the squeezing, the living your life in this way, then you will not have any of these cord connections. Yes, they will be released and they will be all shiny and bright. Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leo and
Yeah.
Ron and Jeanette.
I,
And I really appreciate, Jeanette for, having the courage to go into a really difficult
well, yeah.
topic, topics that's been hard for me to address as well. And I think it's really hard for people to be open about something like this, and that's why we don't hear enough about it. So I want to
And
thank
someone has
you.
to go through it and want out of it so bad, they will talk about it, you know?
It's gotten to that
Thank
point.
you, Jeanette. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And the group.
Bye.
See you all next time.
Namaste. So I guess we go there and then I guess we go out somehow. Do I go out? Oops. Here. Okay. Whoops. I'm still on somehow. I'm still on here. I don't know if that's okay or what. Okay.